You are listening to the Backline podcast.
I'm Trey,
This is Tristan.
and you're listening to the Backline podcast. All right. Episode 16 of the Backline podcast.
Hello.
So before we get into the episode and what we're talking about today, we just want to say thanks for everybody tuning in and continuing to listen, share, subscribe. 16 episodes is pretty cool, but you know what they say is the majority of podcasts never make it to episode 20. So we're going to hit that damn goal, but we've got a couple more to go. But this is episode 16.
Hell yeah.
We're going to talk about a fun topic, but before that, it's been kind of a rough day for us. We, as some of you may know, being subscribed to our Substack, we're working on some new music. Well, today we were hoping to finish up some of that new music, and it just didn't go well. And the one comment Tristan made that I was like, yeah, that's fair, was, hey, we're not paying for studio time anymore. And I'm like, yeah, back in the day, this really would have sucked because we would have wasted 2 hours trying to fix something.
That would have costed us about $200.
Yeah. So, hindsight, I guess. I mean, it's all right if it takes a little longer and we just gotta.
I think every other recording session other than today has gone pretty well. I will take like 1 out of maybe 6 recording sessions being bad is probably okay.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, because we've done the drums separate every session, the guitars, the vocals, the bass. So we've got a lot of sessions into the X amount of songs we're doing. So I guess if one's terrible, like today was, it wasn't totally terrible. We got some stuff done, but not where we were aiming.
It required a little more learning than we were hoping for.
Yeah, we just wanted to come in and do our job.
Yeah.
But it took a little more troubleshooting.
Just one of those ones where you get, we have all of our tracks done, so we're just working on little things now, and you realize that there's just one puzzle piece that's a little bit misaligned. So it's going to take some like not fun work to get it done, but we can fix it.
In the long run, it's going to be worth it, but it just sucks when you're ready to go and you realize there's shit that needs to be fixed.
Right. It's not like it's not something we can just like punch in and fix right now. It's like we're doing one piece of it, and now we have to fix this before we can actually do that. But yeah, just something you run into.
But yeah, that consumed most of our afternoon. So, last month's episode came out right before Thanksgiving, so this is our next episode after Thanksgiving, right before Christmas. So,
all right,
Thanksgiving, how was it?
That was pretty good. Had some food.
I'm asking you like I wasn't there at all.
I know, like you're asking me. No. I thought we had a good Thanksgiving. We had some we had some food.
I had some food.
No, as per usual, it's just kind of I feel like we're older now where it's just like you kind of show up and you see people and you eat food. When you're younger, it's a little more of a thing where it's like, holy shit, like,
yeah,
they have cake at these things, and stuff like that. But now it's just like, you just go and see everybody and eat some food.
Yeah. What? Yeah. It was good.
Yep.
It was good. But yeah, Christmas right around the corner, and years kind of flown by, but
yeah,
kind
of a crazy year.
It really hasn't felt like we've been away from live shows that long, even though our last live show was in July of 24. So this year just feels like it hasn't been that long.
I mean, that's not that long ago,
I guess,
but yeah, it hasn't been like years since we've played live music, but it definitely feels like there's been like a gap between when we've been on stage last and when we'll do it again. But we've been just doing kind of technical work.
Yeah, it got to the point, and we've talked about this in previous Substack writings, podcast episodes. We've been pretty open about it. It was like, on top of all the life stuff that was going on, live shows came to an end because we felt like we needed to do something a little different.
Yeah.
We really enjoy that you guys like our music, but we got sick of playing our own shit, and we're like, we were booked with our original shows and cover shows so much, it was never a writing session. It was always practice sessions for the next show. And it was like, we need to step away and write some stuff. And hence what we're doing now.
Yeah, it came to a point where we were just kind of like spinning our wheels a little bit on stage. I mean, it's not bad to play the same stuff in different orders,
have to.
but it just like comes to a point where like as a band, like you kind of progress, and our music wasn't quite reflecting what our skill level was, B, what we can do, and C, like what we wanted to put out there for music.
Exactly.
So we had stuff queued up and we wanted to get it done. So just taking some time to step away from live music for a bit helped us to kind of
I mean, on top of everything else that was going on, it's like it was kind of the perfect storm, the perfect walkaway.
Yeah, but it like turned out okay.
Yeah. That being said, I don't know if you heard the news or not. The Spotify Wrapped is out.
Oh,
everybody's posting about it. Whatever. It's still cool to look at.
Yeah.
But my personal Spotify Wrapped, like I was looking at it because I was on the bands anyways, checking the bands.
Yep.
And we'll get to the bands in a second. But my Spotify Wrapped, I did screenshot it and send it to Josie because I was picking on everybody for sharing theirs like anybody really cares.
Right.
But I had to send a screenshot to Josie because it was my Spotify Wrapped. I don't remember what order they were in, but these were like my 5 artists, right? Bad Omens, The Plot in You. Who the hell else was it? There was another band in there that was in that. I think it was Of Mice and Men.
Oh,
Stained, and then out of nowhere, Cole Wetzel.
Nice. Just one extra person on there, and it's Cole Wetzel.
Yeah, and I sent it to Josie. I'm like, that's because of them Ranger rides. Because he's like a country rock artist, but it's like anytime I go Ranger and UTV and I put that on because it's just easy listening.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's where that came from.
Yeah, if it's the vibe.
So did you check yours at all?
Yeah, I got off of Spotify like earlier in the year, though.
I did for a while too.
Yeah, I switched over to YouTube Music, so mine's really skewed. So my last year's Spotify Wrapped, I was like the top like 1% listener of this one lo-fi artist because I would put him on to sleep.
Oh,
so it said like you've listened to like 40,000 hours of this musician. It's just like, God. I don't even remember a single, like, this is your favorite song. And I was like, that's not my favorite song.
You made him bank.
I did. He's going to write me a personal letter. He's like, thank you for listening to my music. And it's just like, God. Dude, I don't.
See, I got off Spotify for a while because I was pissed. I went in and I made this playlist, right?
Mm-hmm.
That should have been, I use it for working out. I use it for work.
Yep.
And it's like 100 and almost 200 songs.
I already know where this is going to end.
Dude, right?
Yep.
And it cycled the same 10 songs. I'm like, okay, we're done with you. And I went back to Pandora. But that and the ads.
Yeah.
Because I don't pay for Spotify at all.
No, yeah.
It's like 3-4 ads a song. Maybe you get a second song.
Yeah, it sucks. It really does. Yeah, that's why I switched off of Spotify was because the shuffle was so bad. Because, I have playlists that are thousands of songs, and it's just like I only hear 10, 20 of them. Because, you don't listen to music for like 10 hours straight usually. But like when you queue it up for like, I'm like driving somewhere for 30 minutes. And it's like, I've heard this song 3 times today. Huh, how'd that happen?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
YouTube's not, I use YouTube Music. It's not too much better.
No,
but it's a little bit better.
Like I'll go to Pandora. That's my default also.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not any better either. I switched off of Pandora for the same reason, but I got so sick of Spotify. I'm like, give me Pandora.
Yeah. Well, what sucks about Spotify is that you'll make like a playlist and you want it to hear every song on that playlist, but it'll only give you, like with Pandora, it's a radio station that's built, right?
And that does get repetitive, but at least you're not expecting something.
Yeah. Like I have a couple of deep cuts on here that I just don't hear because they don't pull as much weight as the top 40 that are in here. You know what I mean? So it sucks. It's like something about Spotify's shuffle and what they do for a shuffle algorithm. Well, it's not a true shuffle. A true shuffle would work the right way, but it doesn't. It pulls so much information into that shuffle.
It's their AI algorithm.
No.
AI.
Allen Iverson.
Oh, he was one of my favorite ballers back in the day.
Whenever I hear anybody say AI, I just hear Allen Iverson. Look at what Allen Iverson's doing to our jobs.
All right.
He's like, I'm just here to ball.
So now back, I got an email
Mm-hmm.
to the band's email, obviously.
This is what the actual episode is centered around. So
No,
never mind. We're not there yet. We're like just 10 minutes in.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
I got an email for the band's Wrapped,
Oh,
and I was surprised, but not really. Actually, kind of surprised because we never released a song in 2024, and Red Eye came out as the top. It knocked Decline out, so Decline was the top song last year by a lot, and then Red Eye trumped it. So that was cool to see that Red Eye knocked that one out. That's our top song.
Yeah.
We grew all across the board this year as far as listeners, whatever.
Yeah.
And what I had to laugh at, because it gives you this whole slideshow. I mean, you've
Yep.
seen that. They try to really do it up.
yeah.
for you. It's a little much, but
Yeah.
they got to one stat. It was, I'm not shitting you, 9,999% growth. I'm like, what? But it was Spotify Canvas.
Yeah.
So I've never put Canvas on our, when it comes up on people's phones, sometimes it has Canvas in the background. I never had them. And then now I went in and just added a couple here and there. Well, of course. But
Yeah.
how is that not 100%? How is that 9,999%?
It's probably just their cap. Like you probably can't hit 1,000
Jeez.
or whatever. That's so funny.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, what's this?
we look so good.
Yeah. So anyways, now we'll get into the episode. And
Yep.
it is a topic I enjoy debating on for
Yeah.
a lot of reasons.
It's an interesting
But it's
one.
not a debate. It's not a debate. It's not. Just stop doing this, please.
All right.
Not you. I'm just,
I'll work on it. I don't even know what it is I got to work on yet.
just attacking your. What
okay.
the hell?
I will. I'll work on it.
So today, episode 16, we're talking about elitists. I know we've probably touched on this in other podcasts, Substacks, but
What's your definition of an elitist in this sense?
so an elitist in my sense is someone who is boneheaded enough to think it's the being right syndrome to me, right? It's like an elitist is someone who is so hardcore that they're like, this band rocks, everybody else sucks, and if you don't sound like them, if you don't do this, you suck. That's right.
Yep.
It's being closed-minded.
Yeah.
And I think that's a terrible thing for any music scene
Yeah.
because then you're not diverse.
Yep.
You're playing with all the same bands. They all sound the fucking same. All their shit sounds the same.
Yep.
So that's my definition. Essentially, is a closed-minded person with a strong opinion, which is not a bad thing depending
Yeah.
on what you're trying to do. But what I get a kick out of elitists is they come to these local shows, arms crossed. They're there to hear bands, but mostly critique them and tell them you're not like this band. And
Yep.
okay, dude, why are you here?
Yeah.
Get out of here. I get it's not your thing, but shut the fuck up.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's funny because it's not limited to any genre.
No,
It's not
there's-
limited.
Every single genre has elitists,
And it's not even limited to music either.
no,
You see, it's
it's a
everything.
bigger picture,
Yeah,
but it's just funny to see it in a local scene.
Yeah. As it pertains to music, it's super funny, right? Because like the idea behind a musical elitist is somebody who you see it a lot in very specific places, but like it's somebody who really thinks that whatever they're doing is what music should be.
Yes,
Right.
Or if
whatever it's whatever they're doing is correct.
Yeah.
As if there's a right and wrong answer.
or if they're not even a musician,
Right.
but they're a fan of one band, they think they're holier than thou, and that like my opinion. I don't
Yeah.
play music, but this band, if you don't sound like them, you suck.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It really sucks, and it really drags down, well, A, the local scene a lot,
Shit, yeah.
but B, just kind of in general, because I think that music, like, it's one of those things where people pigeonhole themselves into a genre. You know, like, let's say, even as a listener, you listen to, like, one thing, like, I'm going to pick on a particular group, and it's only because I see it a lot in this group.
Yeah.
Let's say you like math metal, right?
yeah.
You really like math metal. And if, any band who just uses 4 on the floor or like any other time signature that's not like 7/8 or 11/15, you suck and you're terrible and it's not complicated enough. And you see it too in classical music where it's like, if there's not fucking 300 instruments in this mix, then it sucks, right?
Yep.
When really all you're doing is you're stabbing yourself in the foot. And really what makes those genres unique is the fact that they use those. But the problem is you're stomping on your own feet in that sense, because you're just like taking out your individuality on everybody else. You know what I mean? So even when it comes to other genres, like let's say you listen to like really heavy metal, and like what makes that stand out is the fact that everything else isn't that heavy. You know what I mean? But you saying that yours is the best because it's super heavy or it's the heaviest metal and that you can't simply tolerate anything else, you are effectively just eating your own tail. Yeah, eating your own tail. You know, and it sucks because then you see this in, I'm sorry, I should let you talk, but when you see this in like a local scene, you see that people think that their experience means they're just that much better, or their genre is better because they're sitting on this throne of individuality to where they think they need to take that out on other people. And it kills the scene. Again, there's an analogy for it. I don't know if it's the basilisk or the snake, but it's the snake that eats its own tail, or the bucket of crabs, right? Yeah. Where like as soon as one is unique, it'll try to get out of the bucket and the other crabs will grab it and drag it down, right? That's maybe not the right analogy, but the snake eating its own tail is, right? Where it's like the oldest part of the snake is eating like the youngest part of the snake or whatever. That's not the right way to eat that. That's terrible.
No, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's, shooting yourself in the foot's a good.
It really is, because like what you should be celebrating is how unique it is, but you shouldn't take that out on other people's just because it's not as simple or not as complex.
To your point, I think it's also a discredit to oneself, right?
Yeah.
If one person's going to be locked in that this is the end-all, be-all, you are closing yourself to so much other cool music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're closing your own door.
Yeah. You're pretty, as somebody once said, you're the black and white view, it's pretty... this or that.
Yeah.
That's it.
It sucks pretty bad.
So, and it's unfortunate to see it in the local scene because nobody has the hierarchy to be telling anybody what to do.
No.
I mean, anybody can give their advice, right? But when you're going to
Right.
stand on your pedestal and be like, this is right, that's wrong.
I can't even celebrate this band because they're not doing it right.
Yeah, it's like, okay, stop.
Yeah. Because that mindset will discourage so many musicians,
Shit,
right?
yeah.
That's like...
And that's not to diverge off a little bit, but that's kind of why I wanted to start doing this podcast, was for any band that might be questioning shit or any up and coming band. This is our experience and this is what we're trying to get across. And don't listen to the elitists. Keep doing it, because I can't tell you, if we would have followed everything that everybody said, we would sound just like every other band out there. And we aren't everybody's cup of tea, but we fucking know that. And don't care. I mean, don't get me wrong. If somebody's like, hey, that was fucking cool, but you ever thought about doing like this? It's like, all right, yeah.
Yeah. Or like,
whatever.
we have thought about it. We've
done
the
the shit.
thing.
Oh, the basis thing. Yeah, we don't listen to that.
Thing. Yeah. But,
we don't listen to that. But, one thing was we played with another very awesome, semi-famous two-piece, and they are all digital. And he was kind of picking on me about having a still analog equipment, the half stack. And I'm like, he's probably right. Let's see if we can streamline our setup. And we've tried dialing in modelers and stuff. It just doesn't work for us. But that's an example of somebody telling you something and you try it out.
Yeah.
But it's, that's totally separate from somebody being an elitist.
That two-piece band, like, they weren't like, you're doing it wrong because you're not. He was just the person
that
who
was literal advice.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, you'd have an easier time moving your shit if there wasn't so much of it. Which is like,
because he was helping me haul my half stack up to the stage and goes, geez, dude. I'm like,
yeah. No, that's different. Like, I guess where you see it is at these I'm not going to call it any specifics, but you see it on larger. Like an example would be like a larger bill show, right? Where there's 5 bands and whatnot. And let's just pick on the headliner, right? The headliner is going to be there, and it's this band of like 9 people, right? It's a big 9-person band, and they've been doing it for a while, right? There's some mildly famous, maybe even from out of state band, and they come to this show, and they see 4 other bands here, and some of them are heavier in a sense, and some of them are lighter, and some of them are made of more people and less people. And what this band does then is this band is going to show up, and all the members have this attitude, right? Now they're going to stand in front of every band that's playing there after they got all their gear set up, because that's what they have to do. Now they're gonna sit there and they're gonna look at the other bands that are there. They're not gonna be sociable. A.
Yeah.
They're gonna look at these bands that they're playing and they're not gonna clap. B. C, they're not going to compliment anybody or help them off the stage. So all three of these things, right, which are kind of indecent, right? Just off the bat, it sounds like I'm giving somebody a bad hand of cards, right?
No.
I'm painting them in a bad light. But this is what happens. And the problem is if you're somebody who actually pays attention, you'll have a bad, like, foot forward already with these guys, right? They've already done
You
themselves
got a bad taste. Yeah.
Right. They've already done themselves a discredit by not being friendly or personable. B, they it already has set a precedent to where you expect them to be better than what they are now, right? So they've set themselves on a pedestal. And C, now if you're going to support them, you feel like a bastard. You know what I mean? Like, if you're up front now, you just feel like you're kissing ass, which is what happens sometimes.
Oh, no,
Right?
that's a whole nother topic
Right.
that we can talk about.
Alongside
is the ass kissing
elitism and kissing
that
ass
we see.
kind of happen left and right.
Whew.
But the point of this is that if you're a band and you do this, you've only set yourself, like, if you get on stage now and you fucking, like, aren't up to expectation, it lowers that bar even further. Like, you suck now. But if even if you're on a pedestal and you have a good attitude and you're not, like, an elitist about it, you will get more traction out of your everything. Like, now if you get on stage and you're nice, they're just like, oh, these guys were nice.
Well,
like,
dude, that's how inspired have we been, as a band coming up back in the day. I mean, I can't say now because we're 10 years into it, we're old anymore.
No, right.
But I'm not saying we're well known. I'm not saying fame, any of that. I'm saying we've been doing it for
We've got
10
the
years.
experience
So we've got the
now.
road chops.
Yeah.
But how many times have we seen, like, headliners or bands that we thought really highly of be fucking cool? And that's just inspiring. It's totally inspiring.
That's what you'll talk about.
Yeah, that's what
right?
you remember. But you also remember the people that Tristan just described.
You will
so it's
always remember how somebody makes you feel
yeah.
more than anything else.
Yeah.
So, like, that, if somebody is nice to you, even if it's backstage, let's say a headliner shows up and they're, like, mediocre at best.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If they're chill everywhere else, if they're good, like, talking to people and fans and whatnot, and just generally having a good time, that's going to be more memorable than if you get up there and you just blow everybody away and then you leave and you don't talk to anybody and you act like everybody else sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude. Oh, yeah.
Like, that doesn't get you anywhere. And, like, I feel like I'm rambling.
No, you're not rambling. It's you could go off in many directions on this elitist gatekeeper style that some people are entitled to or feel entitled to.
Even individually, right?
Oh.
Like, you're a guitar player and you think you're the fucking best.
Yeah.
You're not. I don't care how much time you spend on a guitar, you're never going to be the best.
Yeah.
But you can be pretty fucking good. And, what does the best even mean?
Yeah,
at
it
that
doesn't mean
point?
shit.
It's the same thing for drums. Like, yes, you can be a really fast drummer, but if that's the case, that doesn't mean you're the best.
Doesn't. I stopped, not to diverge again, but
Yeah.
I stopped practicing solos and shredding and all that. Not that I could do it anyways, but I just stopped it because I realized that's not what I like to do.
No,
I like to chunk and play and all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, that doesn't mean I'm the best at anything or that we're the best. It's our style. It's a style.
No, right. That's just one sector you see of that elitist mindset, though, is that folks just think that their skill translates to them being a good musician.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case.
Now let's talk about the image still burns in my head, right? But let's talk about the typical of the elitists, right? The leather vest, tough guy, patches, back of the room, arms crossed.
Yeah, so that's
you guys were good, but you're not heavy
dressed
enough
for the fact.
You're not heavy enough.
Absolutely. I mean, that's where fun things happen with subjectivity.
Yeah.
Right? Where you have these folks who show up where their music is very heavy. Sure. Absolutely. And they'll then dress the part. Right? And this also comes along with an attitude, apparently.
Apparently, for some.
Apparently, it comes with this attitude where now you have to be the Greek god in the room and everybody else sucks.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I don't even know what the deal
Who
is.
is giving these people that power?
I don't
Why do
know.
they think? Do they sit in their room and they're like, I'm tough. I got
I'm
the best on.
when I put this on, I'm fucking tough.
Fucking tough. And I'm going to go out in public and I'm going to tell bands you're not heavy.
See, it's fine. Like, we've seen it too, right? Where people will dress up, but then they're just like, dude, you guys are great. Like, I forget
dude,
what
there's
band
so
that was.
much. There's so much of the opposite
Yeah.
of what happens that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
There's so much of the opposite, but I'm not kidding. When I describe the vest and the chains and the metal,
It sucks.
we've seen it
Yeah.
because we've been, I can't tell you how many times we've been approached by that elitist in the crowd where it's like, you're not heavy enough.
Yeah.
And then
they
the
don't
band-
walk up to you and say that, but it's just the vibes.
We got said it once.
Have
I
you?
got told it once.
That we weren't heavy enough?
Yeah.
That's fair.
So
If you're clearly not, right?
we're not. We don't. That's the thing, though. People act like you're not heavy enough, and like we're supposed to take it as an insult. But I tell people, I'm like, we just fucking write whatever.
yeah,
it's like not supposed to be.
It is. We
You know,
don't.
my favorite. Not to diverge, but my favorite is like
I've said
we'll
that
be-
maybe 4 times, and
I
we've
know.
diverged every time.
I'm liking that word. But like when we've done our shows, we'll do
Yep.
growl, and we'll get people just going, and
Yep.
all of a sudden it's like we're gonna slow it down a bit, and we hear everybody go, "No," and
Yeah.
then we play dead weight, and it's like we don't fucking care.
Yeah.
It's like we're just gonna. Now, don't get me wrong, we know how to read a room, right? We
Right.
shouldn't do that, but again, we've been doing it for almost 10 years, so it's like, why the fuck not? We're gonna
Yeah,
do
we're
it,
just doing whatever.
and then we rally them back up with another song.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever.
It's just like a lot of this is on assumption, but you can pick up the vibes sometimes. Like when you when you don't look heavy, or you don't, what does look heavy mean? But you know what I mean? Like we show
Oh.
up in street clothes, and some people judge you because you're not dressed up for the show. But then you get up there.
That's called being authentic, and we
Yeah.
talked about that.
See, that's the
and
thing. If
Pet peeves, episode 13.
it's absolutely an authenticity thing, because like if you can dress the heavy metal part and still be authentic and not be a dick, or like you can dress up however the fuck you want, you can wear a mask, but like you have to be authentic about it, because what
Yeah.
happens with some people is they will try to lead by some weird example that was set where you have to do this in order to play in a metal band,
Yeah.
and they'll get up on stage and they'll get all dressed up and whatnot and put on that attitude,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just, it doesn't make any sense, because then I don't even know. Sorry, Olive's attacking me.
Studio doggo.
Studio dog.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't know.
just.
It sucks. I don't know how to articulate it.
Well,
you know,
the
it's-
first time it happened to us, that's stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I've hung on to it, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be like that
no,
guy.
it sucks.
And the worst part is this dude wasn't even part of a band. He was
Yeah,
just there.
just some heavy guy
And I'm
there.
like, dude, whatever. So don't be an elitist. Be very open to whatever you're gonna do, because
You
I'll
gotta
tell
be
you-
humble.
Oh, and not to go back, but our pet peeves episode really describes what we think are kind of core values, which is be authentic and stuff like
Yeah.
that. If you're authentic and you're a dick, well, at least you're authentic, whatever. But or authentic and an elitist, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that's stuff you're gonna run into, and I feel like we run into it more with the metal community, because it is who's the heaviest band.
There's this.
Who
Yeah.
can write the most grotesque shit, and who can and pig squeal the best.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing breakdowns and pig squeals and crowd killing and mosh pitting, you're not very heavy.
It's super funny. It's a super funny phenomenon that you see, man. Like, because you'll know, like, there's this one genre of metal guy out there who's just there to have a good time. You know, he doesn't care how heavy it is. He dresses up. He puts the face paint on. He gets out there and he moshes to every single band, or he cheers them on every single fucking time. That guy is the metal guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Shit,
that
yeah.
guy embodies the attitude that
Because he
people should have.
appreciates, he just is a music fan.
It's
and
kind of punk rock. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of what it is, but it also like delves into something a little bit heavier, but something about that like punk rock mindset of like, yeah, we're here to support like the bands, like they're here to do shit. You know? It's somewhat of a roadie mindset. You know what I mean?
Dude,
like the fucking band.
There is nothing better to me than, we get booked on a lot of metal, hard rock shows just
Yeah.
because of where we fall, right? But dude, you play with a band that sounds like no one else, or maybe they don't fit the bill and they're not that is the coolest shit ever.
It's cool.
There's a couple local bands I know I can think of and say right off the top of my head that we've played with, and they still stick in my mind for being authentic.
Yeah.
And breaking that mold of being heavy and having to do this and having a breakdown and having, whatever.
I just don't fall into that elitist mindset.
Yeah.
It's the worst. It only does you any it's only disfavorable for you. You're only hurting yourself by
for sure. And as a musician, if you're gonna have a pigeonholed mindset of
you're not gonna grow.
Yeah, you're not gonna expand. I mean, you look at bands like Korn and shit like that. You can be like Korn and diversify and be doing different things for as long as they've done it, or you can fucking do like AC/DC and ride your same style out, which nothing wrong with it.
Right.
I'm sure they're not elitist, but I'm getting a little. I'm diverging a little
bit. Not again.
But yeah, I think just being open-minded is a great thing, whether you're a listener, a fan, or in a band.
Yeah.
And being an elitist sucks. Seriously. It is
sucks.
literally like being in the real world and just having let's make that comparison, right? An elitist is like going through the real world assuming that your opinions are set in stone and that they are the end all be all.
Yeah.
What's your life going to look like? Pretty fucking miserable, because you're going to be stuck to whatever is in your mind, not change, not grow.
Yep.
It's an
anti-growth mindset is what it is. It's just unwilling to think that anything else can be any different than what you've already done. And
so that is the comparison to an elitist in the real world.
Yeah.
It is just somebody who's closed-minded, stuck in their ways. So that is that. You hit on it well, though. I mean, the ass kissing part of it. I like that. I like that. So
it's a feedback loop is what that is.
It really is.
And you see it too. You see that grow into stuff it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for this month's podcast. So guys, episode 16. Appreciate it if you would like, follow, subscribe. Paid subscribers, we're going to give you something right after this. We're actually going to take an album review that was written about us by an elitist. And we're going to read it.
I remember this one.
We're going to read it into a camera for our video, and paid subs, you will get this as well the day of the podcast gets released and put out. So that's going to be interesting. I haven't read that in a long time.
No, that's a good one, though.
I remember it pissed me off so bad, and then you realize the source.
It's just some fucking junkie.
Yeah. So that's coming for the paid subs, and guys, really appreciate you. We're going to get to episode 20 and beyond. So this is episode 16, Elitists. Please go back and check out the rest of our stuff. Right now, our top listened to one is still our pet peeves episode, maybe because it was a little triggering.
It was a little saucy.
A little saucy. So thank you, guys. I'm Trey.
That's Tristan.
This has been the Backline Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Backline Podcast.